Civil war will happen in Israel, warned by the Israeli president and many prominent religious leaders through their public speeches on different occasions. The current scenario in Israel strengthens these statements. More than 5 lakh of people have come out to protest against the government in the streets of Israel.
Protests in Israel against the government's contentious judicial reforms are continuing.
Mass demonstrations have taken place in several Israeli cities after the Prime Minister.
Thousands of protesters took to the streets of 3 Israeli cities against the new judicial reforms brought by the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
What is the reason behind such a massive protest? This protest has gained worldwide attention and has become a topic of discussion for people all over the world. What would be the reason for such a significant protest? Let us find out all these details in this video, so watch this video till the end and don't forget to subscribe for more informative videos. If we examine the 75-year history of Israel, we can understand that the country does not have its own constitution. Due to this, they address several problems in different decades. Also, we can understand that the above mentioned protests and lack of constitution has an irreplaceable relation. To know more about this, we have to go through some of the historic events witnessed by Israel. When Ben-Gurion was given the power of Israeli first Prime Minister in 1948, he made a statement that policymakers and lawmakers can only bring new changes and implement them in a country. So he had an idea to place the judicial system below the power of policymakers. This statement was followed by the leaders after him. This gave elected members more power than the judiciary system. Even though this system was being followed for several years, the year 2018 saw a further consolidation of power. It was during this time Israel started facing more protest and opposition. Many allegations came forward against Benjamin Netanyahu's government. Court cases and investigations were initiated to address this concern. And there was a call for accountability and transparency. This has become a huge protest involved by the large volume of people by 2021 and created an impact all over the Israel. Also, these controversies gained worldwide attention. Now the situation is much worse than before. About 5 lakh of people were actively participating in the protest against the government, which means that 7% of Israeli total population is on streets now. So what action will be taken from the government side against this protest? What will be the consequences? Everyone will have these concerns, right? However, we don't have to travel far to learn about it. The event that marked the beginning of the issue started in the end of 2022. In the parliamentary election held that year, the party led by Benjamin Netanyahu won 64% of the seats and formed a coalition government with some ultra-nationalist right-wing parties. This government then proceeded to take control of settlement in occupied territories which Palestinian people are claiming as their place. After this, Benjamin Netanyahu was implementing new legalization which will give significant power to the Israeli parliament, which is known as the Knesset. The new legalization states that the Knesset can overpower any verdict or decision by the Israeli Supreme Court if they got the support from Israeli MPs. It would also give more importance to the elected people representative than the judiciary system. Even in bills passed by the government, the judiciary can't express any opinion nor suggest any changes. The Israeli judiciary system doesn't have any role in decision making, not even in deciding judges. All these were decided by a committee appointed by the government, and the decision made by the committee will be final. This is a situation where complete power is vested within the government. If the ruling coalition got the majority voting of greater than 60 from the parliament, they can overpower the decision made by Supreme Court ruling. Benjamin Netanyahu continuously tried to bring about such a changes. This is the main reason for the protest we see today. In a self-proclaimed democratic country, they have representatives who are elected to serve the needs and rights of the people. The representatives safeguard the needs and rights of the people and serve to establish parliament, which is responsible for meeting the demands of the people on a daily basis. But when corruption is taking place inside this process, a judicial system is naturally essential to solve it. But if this bill was implemented, then the decision taken by the Knesset are final and no interference is allowed. And these type of procedures will lead to an absolute dictatorial reign. Former Prime Minister Yair Lapid and his other allies, as well as many small and large parties of the left and right wing, have organized rallies in many parts of the country with the participation of more than 5 lakh ordinary people. These huge protests are again creating more imbalance in Israeli politics because Israel has had about 6 elections in the last 4 years. That's why Israeli politics is getting very complicated. An important reason for this is the political structure of Israel itself. There are 120 seats in the Israeli parliament. Out of these 120 seats, whoever wins 61 seats, that is the party with the majority, will rule. But in Israel, people will vote for various parties, not for the representative. That is, if a political party gets 40% of the vote, then they will get 40 seats. Similarly, if Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party gets 30% of the vote, he will get 30 seats. Seats are allocated to each party based on the percentage of the vote each party gets. In Israeli history, no single party has ever won a majority. That's why these parties come to power by joining forces with other parties. Big and small parties with different ideology will be there in each coalition. Because of this, many agreements will take place with various parties to form the government. For example, if a coalition is formed between two parties, first party will decide that they will rule for the 2 years. Then next party will take the chance to rule for the next remaining 2 years. So this kind of different position will be interchanged and this kind of agreement will take place for each coalition. When these kind of coalitions started ruling, they will eventually face some kind of issue between them. So it will naturally create a problem, start in the partnership and this partnership will be withdrawn. So this will eventually lead to next election. As such a procedure takes place in Israel, it's lead to a great complications. These recent protests in Israel against the new legalization has sparked intense debate and discussion across the country. The controversial law has sparked outrage among many who believe it infringes upon basic civil liberties and democratic values. These protests demonstrate the power of the people to voice their dissent and demand change from the elected official. It remains to be seen how Israel government will respond to these protests, but one thing is clear, the people will not silence in the face of injustice. What's your thought on this complication going on in Israel? Be sure leave your opinion in the comment box below. We'll see you in another video. Until then, it's me Sanoop signing out.